everybody, we got a special show for you today. Dr. Shawn Randels, retiring LR Superintendent, and Dr. Rocky Valentine, incoming LR Superintendent. You watch us. We're going to talk about it right after this. Well, good morning, everybody out there. Thanks for joining. I'll promise you now, we're going to try to keep the nonsense to a minimum.
What?
Yeah. Well,
I know. We have important figures in the room today.
We're still time for ISS.
That's right. I'm only 52. I've only been graduated 20-some odd years.
I've never been to ISS, so
no,
I'm just saying.
I don't think I ever had to go to ISS.
The one time I should have gone, I talked my way out of it.
I was never an ISS either, but I think it's just because I never really got caught.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably the issue there. But good to have you guys. Thanks for coming in.
Yes.
Glad you'll be here. Last day, Dr. Randels, with kids.
Last day with kids today.
Wow.
How does that feel?
Half a day, bump up day. Surreal.
I bet.
It's sad.
Oh.
I'm sad.
Well, thanks for taking a little bit of time to spend it with us.
Yeah,
really
we appreciate that.
Yeah. But Dr. Valentine, so what's this feeling like to you?
It's getting real. We're getting closer.
Yeah, it is.
It's the longest transition period for any job on the history of the planet. So.
Yeah, it's what, 9 months almost?
It feels like it is.
Well, because I know you
third trimester at this point, yeah.
Because you came in and we had a conversation back in December.
Gosh, yeah, that was late December.
After we got the word that you were the pick, and thanks for doing that, and thanks for joining us again. But yeah, I don't know, going forward, big deal.
A lot of big changes. Okay, again, how many years at Rogersville?
Almost half my career, 31-year career, and I spent 14 of them as a Wildcat.
Oh my goodness. And how long, Rocky, have you been in education?
So this will be, I'm finishing my 13th year, so.
Oh, very nice. I walked my daughter into the last kid that would go through the primary today. So I made a point. I was like, I'm done with the primary. Like, this is a very strange transition. It's different. It's a big deal.
Yeah, and then we finished with the high school.
You did.
We got the last one through high school a week or so ago. So yeah,
so if we all start sobbing, just ignore us.
It's been an emotional roller coaster.
Probably not going to happen. But, and so you're coming from Marshfield.
Yes, sir.
So what's the biggest lesson you learned from Marshfield that you're gonna bring us here in Rogersville?
Gosh, man, there's too many to really even think about.
What not to do.
That's
it's Marshfield.
You know, I had.
We love our rivals.
I had a moment yesterday. We were at lunch and ran into a Marshfield alumni, and he was razzing me pretty good. So it's kind of fun for the good-natured rivalry. I feel like it's good-natured. I hope it is.
Yes. Yeah. Well, when we've got the sheriff that lives here and works there, you know, we've
oh yeah, I can see that creating some additional rivalry.
Sheriff Cole has he's kind of had some barbs on both sides because I work with his SROs at Marshfield, so he's kind of hit me both sides. But I don't know, really, probably just on the leadership side. Just so prior to that was at Sparta, so just so much smaller capacity, but just, I don't know, scaling up leadership and the logistics of a larger district, and seeing that and get to work through that. It's unique when you have a leadership of team of 4 to 5 people, and then all of a sudden it's 18 people, and there's directors and just all those moving parts. It's just scaled up, and logistically it's different. So those are probably the big takeaways, among a number of others. I've worked with some really, really great people. We have our last day of school on Friday, and we do a little end of year celebration. So that's where the emotions and all that will hit me from leaving that. It'll be pretty bittersweet. So,
What is the size comparison to Marshfield, Rogersville?
so we're running right around with preschool about 20 or 3,200 ish students, and I think
And we're 2,500.
Oh, okay. So pretty close.
2400.
pretty close. So our average class size is usually like 210 to 225 ish, and
Okay.
We're like 180 to 200.
yeah.
Okay.
And I think the demographic projections are going to show Rogersville is growing like the fastest in Webster County. So we're probably going to
There's a lot of homes going up, yes.
Yeah, probably going to get there.
We're seeing some significant growth over the last 3 years. I won't get this exactly right, but I think over the last 3 years, we have added 10 new positions
Wow.
to the district.
Well, and you just brought us through our bond issue and all this wonderful new construction we've got
Yes.
to see. So,
Yeah, there are some milestones. There's some things that I'm proud of.
There should be lots of things you're proud of.
Yeah.
There's one or two.
yeah.
No, it's, I mean, bonds and things like that are what people see. They don't see the behind the scenes work that we do with model classrooms and curriculum and, things, professional development of staff. But the bonds, yes, in 2019 was the first time that LR had ever ran and passed 2 questions on the same ballot. We had the 49-cent levy and the $8 million bond. So that was a milestone for LR. And then fast forward to phase 2 in 2022, and we passed the largest no tax bond in the history. So in a span of 3 short years, we had 2 firsts for LR. And so I'm pretty proud of those because that hopefully sets us up for growth in the future. There still is phase 3 out there in our strategic plan. 2027 is the year where we have to decide if we need another elementary or
I have a feeling we will.
What's the growth look like? Our demographic study that we do every 3 years, we started in 2015 and then 18 and 21, and we'll continue that. It's showing this year alone, what was it? Kindergarten through 6th grade, that demographic study was trending on average 12 kids lower. So it predicted low. No,
Yeah.
we have 12 more kids in every class than what the study showed.
The study
yes.
was lower than the growth
Yes.
turned out to
Yes.
actually be.
Yeah.
Well, I remember in 2018 when we talked about this, the last one, it really was projected not to grow.
It was
Or not much.
Just
It was
small,
minimal.
1%. Yeah, and then it just started taking off.
Yeah. Well, and
Amazing what can happen
when
in a
you
few
build
years.
houses and
Yeah.
apartments. Yep, absolutely. Because at that time there were really no places to put new people.
Yeah,
So
Hiya,
we
Beth.
are,
Changed.
and
Thanks
we're
for being
busting
here.
at the seams, especially like at the elementary. I mean, we are out of classroom
yeah.
space.
Yep.
Well, when it comes to build that new classroom, you're going to want to have a chat with us because there's definitely some minefields there. And those of us that have been here for 50 years, we kind of know where they're buried, so we could probably help you out.
May open up a cold case.
Well, but, I mean, no, all I'm talking about is
We're
you
gonna
got to
start that rumor.
He knows something. He knows something.
the
your normal
history
waffle
of the school
shenanigans.
district, though, is a little interesting because when all of the other school districts around here had an elementary, a junior high, and a high school, Logan-Rogersville had a Logan Elementary, a Rogersville Elementary, and then a Logan-Rogersville Junior High and a Logan-Rogersville High School. And then all the other schools started to go, that's when you got your Ozark North, Ozark West. They started having the multiple elementary schools, but Rogersville consolidated and went to where we had the I don't know what the right term is, but the grade level specific buildings. Yeah, and so we've been the other way, we're this way now, and then I think what we're talking about, which does make a lot of sense is going back to that geographic, maybe elementary
Yeah.
school. But I'm just predicting everybody's got something bad to say about something, no matter how good it is.
No.
There will be an opinion.
There will be an opinion, yeah. So
Yeah, the thing that hurts kids the way we're set up, and there's benefits to it as well, because you get to know your second grade classmates, and then you'll have 24 other friends, and then when you're in third grade, you might have a few of your friends, but then you get to meet some more new friends in your same grade level. So you get to go through with your grade level. But when you have that many transitions, go to second grade, and then you go to fourth, and then you go to seventh, and then you go. That's a lot of transitions, and it's hard to create a community and get to know kids on a deeper level when you only have them for 2 years.
Yeah,
And so
that makes good sense.
So neighborhood schools that keep kids in a one school location longer periods of time with fewer transitions it's beneficial.
yeah, I can totally see that. So.
But it's controversial too. I want my kid to go here. I want him to go there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you bet, yeah. Well, Dr. Valentine, I don't know how much opportunity you've had to dig into Rogersville, but if you've got to see anything, hear anything, I'm just interested in what your thoughts. What do you think about it here?
Gosh,
What do you
so-
see as the future?
Well, really, I kind of joked about the transition being so long, but it's been nice because I had an entry plan that I put together, and I don't know how many days that we've sat down and visited.
5 or 6 over once a month.
Yeah, and then getting to go to board meetings. I've been doing those since early December, so that's been awesome. And then it's been nice just to be kind of getting back into the community. Got to go to the wildlife event a few weeks ago on that Sunday night.
Yeah.
And get to see some people that I hadn't seen in a long time, and that was and meet some new people, new families that we'll get
I
to
don't
work
think
with.
I realized you were there at the Young Life
Yeah,
event.
you were emceeing.
I
You were
was
busy.
MC. Yeah, I was
You
MC.
were busy.
That's
So-
There's a microphone, Will's
That-
in front of us.
There's a microphone. I probably find it. That's right.
I was so the one little competition game they had. I was out so quickly. You didn't.
Where they
see,
tug
yeah.
around the barrel. That thing was.
I failed pretty quickly there, but
That was a lawsuit waiting to happen right there.
God.
My other personality kicked. I'm like, holy cow, that looks really, really scary right there.
but no, it's been good. We've had an opportunity, and this next kind of 30 days, it's been a little bit of a challenge because I'm obviously still working at Marshville, and so duties and obligations there, and trying to do both of those things. It's been a little bit challenging over really the last probably 2 to 3 weeks has been a little bit more.
We
But
called it our transitional learning. So we have about a 5-page agenda that we just kind of been going through. It's kind of the same agenda that we go through with new board members.
Yeah.
Because it hits all the 30,000 foot views, which he knows this stuff because he's been a superintendent and an assistant superintendent, but just how LR does it. Every school has their own little twist on it.
You bet.
So how we do it just helps him get up to speed, and there's a comfort level with our people because of the way they're used to doing it. Doesn't mean it's the right way, but it's the way we've been doing it. And so if that helps him, move forward a little quicker with a little more comfort with people, that's what we're all about. We want to make sure it's a smooth transition.
So when are boots on the ground here for you?
So July 1st is my first day. Of course, that's a weekend. It's kind of a unique. Again, it's the transition period for that is unique. So I'll start on July 3rd in the office and immediately have a day off the next day for the 4th of July.
There you go. That's
which is
good.
kind of
I like
fun,
that
you know?
setup. I like it.
Gotta ease
Just
in, you know?
ease in. Put your toe in the water.
But really, I'm not on payroll yet, but I feel like I have been, going to board meetings, and I've not had terribly large voice on stuff, but we've communicated a lot. And the other thing that's kind of unique, and I've thought about this a little bit, so I've been in the district south of Rogersville, where Shawn and I visited and collaborated quite a bit on different stuff at Sparta, and then now on the other end of Webster County. So it's kind of nice to come back in the middle and living here for a number of years, just being acquainted with it is nice too. So my girls all went to the primary for preschool,
Aw.
so I've had some of those experiences and got to do some stuff there. So yeah, we're looking forward to it.
He has had some LR snow day experience.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Could we talk as superintendents, when we have this 4:15 a.m. conference call with the National Weather Service, and then we'll get on the phone, and I'm like, hey, on your way to Sparta this morning, will you drive this road, and this road, and report back?
That's
and
true.
Tell me out so I don't have to drive that far.
I'm the East coordinator for our church. So
You get it.
yeah, because I live out there on the border of LR and Fordland, and so if
Yeah,
it's a
I
church
need him to
snow
drive U Highway and John Ford.
that's
It's like storm spotters, you know, when they call in the
Yes,
guys
yeah,
on the radio, they're like, get
that's-
to your location, we need the snow spotters.
Well, that's that's kind of the fun part is there's almost some politics to snow days, isn't
Oh,
there?
there is, yeah.
I truly did.
If one cancels, then we can cancel.
I had a conversation with one of the National Weather Service guys, and I said, I don't want to be the first. I
Right.
would like to be the cutting edge sometimes, but I don't know if I want to be the first in this. I said, but my goodness, what are we doing to kids by canceling school all the time? I said, go to school. And he goes, you want to go to school? I'll help you. He goes, ambulances and postal workers and fire and rescue, they put chains on the wheels and they put a chain on the right front tire. And I'm like, so when they break, they don't slide into the ditch. He goes, exactly. He goes, we can put chains on your buses and you can go to school every single day.
Okay, let's do it.
I think the new transition to the new
Yeah,
superintendent.
yeah.
Now we're talking.
Yeah,
We got a great, we got a great new
we've already
policy
started
right
a
here.
controversy.
Well, that's why we're
Dr.
here.
Valentine is never going to cancel school.
He is never gonna cancel
Chains on
school.
buses.
We're putting chains on the tires. We're going to make it happen.
Oh, man.
No more snow days.
I'm not going to lie. I'm tickled that we're getting out today because we were able to do AMI days this year instead of canceling for snow. So
Yes.
I'm perfectly happy about that.
Yeah.
It is a bummer though the first time you wake up and it's a snow day and you're like, but we're going to work.
Well, we're good.
But
Yeah.
log on because there's work.
But
to
log on.
Imagine having a senior
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
scenario. It's like,
Yeah.
there's a little bit of senioritis kicking in
Oh,
anyway,
yeah,
not
absolutely.
wanting to get the work done, and then
do. Well,
it's
it's
the
our
snow day and
attempt
all
to
that.
teach a little perseverance and grit. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know.
That's good. That's
Grit,
good.
that is a word I used yesterday, and I think that's an important thing in this world, getting a little
It
bit of
is.
grit. Yep,
I
we
do.
were talking about that yesterday.
I do think it's too bad that the kids these days don't get the scrolling on the screen, the list.
the
So
anticipation.
Delayed gratification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole
Yeah.
study on delayed gratification.
oh yeah, it's a huge deal.
Yeah, and our kids grew up without it.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty.
Yeah.
My own children.
But I mean, I remember watching it. You get to Lockwood, and then it would go Ludi, and you're just like,
No! Maybe they didn't put Logan in front, and then you sit there and watch the
that
Lord.
never happened. No, it was like you see Lockwood, you knew it was coming, and then it went straight to Ludi, and you were going to school. It was a bad deal.
Man.
But you could,
funny.
we knew the schools around us because of we're watching the snow
Yep.
snow
Sticker at the
cancellation.
bottom of the screen.
It was always a big deal.
Now you just get a text message.
Very
Your wife
early.
is connected to Rogersville.
Yeah,
Is that
absolutely.
right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was actually just telling somebody yesterday, her grandpa was like a 55 or 56 graduate,
Cool.
Marvin Greer, senior.
Yep.
My father-in-law is a junior, so Marvin Jr. So it was kind of interesting. We've been navigating some of that, but my father-in-law was just telling me, and I did not realize this about the community of All, Missouri.
I don't
I
know
was
that
not
know
aware
about
of this.
So
You're bringing some
there
news
was
up.
The legend of All.
There was a post office over off of like where KK and AD meets.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you spell all?
ALL.
ALL. I didn't know if it was AWL
So-
or A.
Yeah, I didn't realize this until I was looking at Google Earth and I see All, and I'm checking in. I figured a history buff. I'm
Well, that's not my neck
So-
of the woods. I'm
Yeah.
Pedalo area,
Oh,
so I'm.
Pedalo.
So
I'm
there wasn't a one-room schoolhouse
I
named
think
All.
I think it was just the post
Just a
office.
post office?
we
That's
should've-
really fun because
should've
you can
kept
be
that
like,
one, right?
all y'all.
All
like,
y'all.
Yeah.
or y'all.
Perfect. Y'all all.
So-
Y'all.
That doesn't
Well,
really have
where y'all
anything to do
from?
with my wife's family, but
no, it's-
unique area history, I thought.
Well,
I didn't know
the
that. That
Greers
is
are cousins
interesting.
to my wife.
Yeah,
so
absolutely,
there's
If it's any sort of Rogersville connection, Will's some sort of cousin down the line.
Yeah.
Always.
we've been here a while.
It's like, oh,
My,
yeah, I'm a cousin to that.
I think my great grandmother graduated from Rogersville, so it's on my mom's side. We go way back.
Do you have any idea the first year Rogersville graduated?
I don't know. I know that, like, if you go back and look at the composites
Yeah.
back in there, I think it's in the 20s. My grandmother, Katie Pearl Galloway, or Ewing then,
Yeah.
is in
On there.
in the composite back in the
The first
20s and 30s.
Logan-Rogersville, when the vote was taken to consolidate and Logan kids would go to Rogersville High School, that was 1964.
Okay.
So we had, when I first got here, we had these T-shirts and it said EST 1964. And that's when
Okay.
we also established the hashtag and our LR logo
Gotcha.
and our wildcat with the green eyes,
Yep.
red tongue. And so we did that whole branding piece. And that's what our history buffs tell us. And we found the news article that showed the vote. It was like 200 and some to 15 to
Ooh,
consolidate.
That was a
the
big
15
deal.
holdouts. I'd like to
Yeah.
interview them today.
That would be fun.
That would be.
They're still mad.
They're still mad about it.
They're still mad. I'm actually part of the unfortunate LR high school era that had the terrible Wildcat. I don't know, like,
See, I think I like this Wildcat. Is this the one that's still on the water tower?
no. I think it's pretty much been scrubbed at this point. But it
Erase
looked
it.
like a little kitty cat.
Oh, yeah, that's
it
no
was
fun.
very, no. I mean, the one we have now, like,
The one we have now is a great one. There is one on the water tower by the upper that is an old Wildcat. And everybody's like, no, there's not. And then they go look and they're like, yes, there is. And it's kind of a yellowish, kind of a side profile. Go look at it. It exists, I swear.
I think,
It
if I can
exists.
dig it out, I think my letter
My
jacket.
job is not done.
Your
from-
job is not done. Go
We
look.
gotta-
I think my letter jacket from the 80s has this old terrible Wildcat on it. So I'd
like
like
to
to
see
dig it
that.
out and find it. But
Yes, go look at the water tower at the upper. It has an old Wildcat logo on it.
but there was about
Yep.
4 years that you had
Hard to
this
see.
really kind of wimpy, nice,
Like, meow.
yeah,
Yeah.
looking Wildcat that we had. And I was like, oh. But I remember before that, the people before us, they had this, Wildcat that looks a lot like the one we have now. That's, kind of aggressive. It looks good.
I like
it's-
our Wildcats. Good.
And then we had this kind of wimpy looking one for a while, and then they're like, "Oh, that's terrible." And they went back, and it was fine. But I'll have to see if I can dig that
The
out.
whole concept of branding now being so much more at the forefront of how we do things.
Boy, it is, isn't it?
It's really unique.
We don't know anything about that.
Well, I mean, we went into depth with it because in one of our studies that we did, we had brought in a company that interviewed every staff member when we were starting our strategic plan. And one of the themes that came out of all those interviews is that LR is more of a district of schools instead of a school district. Everyone was doing
it's
great
interesting.
things in their buildings, but they were kind of doing it in isolation because, again, those transitions.
Sure.
First grade teachers don't get to talk to second grade teachers except maybe 2 PD days a year.
That's an interesting point.
And so we decided that through that process came out those core values that we weren't even searching for.
Yeah.
But if you look on our letterhead, it's that, and on our under our mission statement is unity, clarity, consistency, and accountability. And we need to hold true to those because we still do have those transitions.
Yeah.
So the branding and the hashtag, we brought back the school song, so all the choir teachers teach that. I mean, we're really
I love a good school
we're really
song.
indoctrinating kids.
I can sing
that's
along.
fine. You
But
I sing along.
Yes,
when
thank
they
you.
play. I do.
I like school
But it's a
songs.
sense of community, and we want a kindergartner, the 3rd, 5th, 7th, and high school, who are all in different buildings, to all feel like they belong to something.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, and I
Wildcat.
think Rogersville has a unique situation for a small town. And me coming from a small town where the school set up on the hill and it was all one campus and everything kind of came off of the school. Rogersville is a little bit different, and this is an outsider's opinion. I've been here for 6 or 7 years now, but our school operates a little disjointed from our town because there's parts of our school in our town, but some of it's away. And I feel like you need to continue to draw and bring the connection from the school to the actual city limits of Rogersville. Because there's a lot of people who live in the Rogersville district who often don't go into town in Rogersville, which is very different than the school, I grew up in, where that was the only town in the area. And so you had to go do your shopping in Houston. And in Rogersville, a lot of people are shopping in Springfield. So it's a little bit of a disjointedness. And I think that that's gotten better over the years, but that's a perspective from an outsider. And it's a little different. And then you have the buildings in kind of 4 different spots.
Yep.
It's unique.
We have 3 different MoDOTs, 3 different sheriff's departments, 3 different
Yes.
Division of Youth Services.
3 different counties.
3 different, yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of coordination that has to happen to keep everyone's arrows aligned in the quiver.
Yeah.
3 different health departments.
Yeah, exactly. You just named it.
Don't go there. All right.
Oh, I didn't think about that because of food service. Yeah. Ooh, you got a tough job.
That's not what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Lauren's
Oh,
already
yeah.
blocked it out.
I've
so good for her.
already completely ghosted what happened over the past 3 years. I've moved on.
That's good.
I think the unique part about that is the school kind of takes on the community
It does.
of Logan-Rogersville.
It really
and I think
does.
that's a unique piece, because I too grew up in a community similar, that it was a little bit more consistent in that
Yep.
matter, but the school district kind of fills that void of that unique piece that it is a unique.
Even our Chamber of Commerce said the greatest economic development tool that they have is the quality of the school district.
Absolutely.
So we take a lot of pride in that, and it's a big responsibility, but keeping everyone on the same page, that's why, Coffee at the Post, and I meet with the chamber and the city once a month, and we
Yeah.
have coffee. Sometimes we don't talk about anything but maybe a MoDOT project, but at least we're all on the same page.
How's that going? Dr. Valentine's like,
there's been a
I'm
MoDOT
all into
project.
that.
I've been here 14 years, and it feels like there's been a MoDOT project.
Always.
I couldn't help but laugh the other day, though, when somebody was like, what's going on at 125 and 60? It's like,
Like, how do you not know?
how do you not know?
No. You head in the sand. But, well, I think, Dr. Randels, what you've done a really good job of, and I'm really happy about, that I think is difficult for a lot of community leaders, is you have been at Coffee at the Post.
Absolutely.
You've been out, you've been amongst the community, and you've been very accessible to people to get to talk to you. And I understand the reluctance of people, political leaders, community leaders, whatever, to do that, because they feel like every time I'm with somebody, they're going to hit me with all these
Yeah,
questions.
yeah.
But you know what? Once you break through that and people don't feel like it's their only chance that they're ever going to get to talk to you, you get past that.
That's a great point, Will.
And you
That's
get
good.
to have normal conversations with people, and it's not always about their agenda, because they feel like you're accessible. So I think you've done a great job of doing
Yep.
that, and a great example to all of our leaders. If they would follow that example, I think it would be wise.
Well, I mean, you've been on our show, right? And I mean, Dr. Valentine's already been on our show, and I think it's important because while it is tough that we live in a world where social media has such instant opinions on everything, and people are also willing to say things that they wouldn't just walk up to you and say to your face, I think it's great. The more accessible you are, the easier of a path you're going to have. And it might be uncomfortable at times, but I think it is important, especially in a community like Rogersville, where it is a little spaced out. And it's a huge area, right? I mean, I don't think a lot of people, I think when you kind of live, like I live in the middle of town. My folks live in the Rogersville district, and they're 10 miles away from me, closer to Springfield. And so, I mean, it really is a different kind of a setup.
And I'm on the other end.
And you're way over yonder. And then there's y'all out in all. And I mean, it's a big area.
223 square miles.
Is that what it is?
That's what it was. That's what it is.
Holy moly, that's interesting.
That's really big. But on the social media front, I think that every media has encountered this. It's like, you can't ignore it.
No,
No.
no.
I mean, newspapers came out. Nobody wanted, all of the public, they didn't want the newspapers. They didn't want to talk to the reporters. They didn't want to do any of that. And then they realized, if I'm not speaking, somebody else is. And so it's more about, it's there. I need to use it. I need to be there. People are going to say what they're going to say anyway, but at least if you can speak into the conversation, and you don't have to respond. Every time somebody comments, you don't have to respond.
You'll drive yourself crazy trying to do that.
And I mean, I think that's the lesson I've learned. I mean, I post stuff all the time, and usually people comment this, comment that. If they comment something and it's argumentative, I generally will ignore it. You just don't have to. You don't have to deal with that. But it's a good tool, and ignoring it's problematic, and you guys haven't done that, so good for
We
you.
are to the point where we started we rearranged, I don't even remember what year this was, as Becky Mathena was retiring and Holly Bertram was coming in. We restructured the district office and freed up some time for someone to be like a communications coordinator, part-time. We're to the point where we probably need that full-time. We just haven't done that yet. I know, like, Ozark has a department of like 4, and Nick's
Yeah.
4 or 5, and Nick's has.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Well, we
6 or
always
7.
try to share your stuff to
Yes.
help get the reach out there. So
Because you're right. If we're not telling our story, someone's going to tell it for us.
Yeah.
And we would like to be the narrative and the place people go to.
Yeah.
Well, and you've got a real great resource just bubbling under the surface there with this media class.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, Jeff Johnson in the media class.
As soon as we can get them up to speed.
They're in their first year and building a lot of capacity there.
That's awesome.
And have a lot of things in the works. They're going to do some great things, and kids are going to have a lot of success there.
Well,
there'll be some future careers.
Yeah, well, we've got internships available.
There you go.
Right now, we'd love to platform them, let them help us
If
out
you want
here.
to work for free, you can.
Yeah, if you want to
you
work
can come
for
here.
free, that's right.
Just
We've
saying.
got a spot
Yeah.
for you.
If you want to put some time in, we'll help you with that.
Hey, who knows? Those sponsorship dollars keep rolling in, and you
I
never
know.
know what's going to happen around here. But
One question I was thinking of, and this is kind of for you both. What are some hard lessons that you learned in the early? I know this is tough. I'm sorry. I was rolling through my brain last night because we all have these moments, right?
Lessons learned.
When you're early in your careers in education. I had a very specific incident that happened with a roll of film at a Walgreens in my first manager job when I was probably 21 years old that I will never forget, where I just made a boneheaded mistake.
Wow.
And it's like, you know what?
I was afraid it was what you found when you developed the film.
No, that was
not-
always interesting too. But no, this is where I just dug in on something that I should not have dug in on. You know what I mean? And we all have these moments. And that was something that I was thinking of because, you obviously both have a ton of experience, but, you're a little further in your career. And so it's interesting, the hard lessons that really kind of change you from that point on. That was a question I thought of, and you may not be able to come up with it, but it's something to stew on.
I don't know. I mean, I have some regrets. I don't know if those are lessons, but some things I wish I would have done a little differently. In maturity, as you age in administration, I think that's probably the thing that I've noticed the most in myself is that I did, when I was first a high school principal or even an athletic director prior to that, I dug my heels on some things, said, nope, this is how we're doing it. When there was some gray area that we could have wiggled.
There's a lot of gray
but
area in
I wasn't
this
willing
world,
to
yeah.
give in.
Yeah.
And let that person on the other side, get their way. And as I've matured, there's always some gray area now. And, they have their perspective and there may be a different perspective. The truth usually lies someplace in the middle.
Yep.
And just talking with people face to face, listening more than talking is probably something
That's a good
that I've
one.
learned.
That's a good one.
Empathize with people and put yourself in their shoes. And we're all on the same team. We're always trying to make the best decision for kids. And when a parent can realize that we want what's best for them as well, and we're going to find the common ground to get there instead of digging our heels in and saying, nope, we're the school, we know better. Well, that's not always the case.
That's good. That's a good one. See, you dredged it up.
Yeah. I've probably forgotten more than he'll ever know. So, I mean,
It's probably true.
I had an administrator tell me that one time when I was my very first principal job. This school had a retired administrator, and he was doing it part-time. And he used to tease me that he's like, I've forgotten more than you'll ever know. But it was so great because he came in like every other day. And if I had a really sticky situation,
Yeah.
I could say, let's wait till tomorrow when Mr. Joyner is here and get his opinion.
Bring in the ringer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The old salty dog.
The old salty dog. I'm never going to live that down.
I'm going to have to answer that now. So I guess for me, and my experience in leadership is not as long as soon to be superintendent emeritus here. So I would say really, you talked a little bit about working with parents, and I think probably very early on I realized it's okay to say we're going to agree to disagree on things occasionally. That's sometimes the easiest way, and that doesn't mean we can't move past whatever
Sure.
we're working on. I shared with teachers a lot of the times that would want things to happen to or with student situations or just situations in general I'm going to work with this family for the next 4 years. You're only going to see them until May, and so
That's a good point.
You start realizing there's situations that just you have to see some gray, or you have to be flexible and work through stuff. But the other big thing I would say is, sometimes parents can come in and be very emotionally charged or upset, and or just what I like to tell them, hey, I can't fault you for being an advocate for your student.
That's a great point.
That's what I'm the same to my kids, and I would actually be disappointed with you as a parent if you weren't being that. And so we know that's the case, and we work through those scenarios. But I think last time I was on, we talked about COVID and things like that, and there's so many things. Hindsight 2020 on that I think all of us, not just school districts, glean from that scenario. But there's also a lot of things. I mean, this platform here is, there's a lot of things that we found and we're like, hey, this has worked really great.
Sure.
So just knowing that how we've done it one way isn't going to always be the best, and we have to adapt and grow from those things. So
And sometimes we just have to say sorry.
Yeah.
We screwed that up.
Yeah.
That is a big one, is learning just to say, I messed that one up.
Yep.
That is, I think if a lot of people would be more accepting of just admitting that sometimes, that, hey, I messed up. Because it's important. And it's important for your kids to see you do that too, as a parent, as a leader in your community. Just say, I didn't handle that the right way, and just move on and get better from it.
We talk a little bit at Marshfield, and it's been a leadership principle that we've worked through the last couple of years. It's eat the frog or skunk on the table, whatever you want to call it. Just look, if there's an issue, let's talk about it, and let's
I like
let's bring
skunk on the table. That's
bring
great.
Bring it to the table and discuss it. And I think that works so well with whether that's team member issues, student issues, adult issues. Let's talk through this and discuss it, and that's probably the easiest way to go about things.
Building trust.
And it's
you
trust.
build the trust to where you can get to the point where you can talk about things. We have that with our Board of Education. We have an amazing Board of Education.
Yes.
They trust one another. They respect
That's
one another's
huge.
opinion. They come at it with different life experiences, which is great, cross-section of our district, and they represent the district really well. But they're good people that listen to one another, and they've built the trust over the years. And as a new member comes on, we work to build that trust and bring that person in, just like you would, got to start this freshman or sophomore on the basketball team. We got to have that trust that young one, that newbie can handle it. And that's what the veterans do. They build that new person
That's
up.
good.
So I'm really proud of the Board of Education. That may be one of my accolades that I would be most proud of, is just how we've, as Coach Randels, helped coach that team of 7 to be on the same page and believe in the same mission.
Well, that's huge, because you can't get things done. It's very disruptive to everything if people can't work together and get along. And I think we're seeing that in so many different capacities, throughout the U.S., throughout everywhere. And I have noticed that there's no drama with our school board, right? Knocking on wood. But I think I feel very confident that the decisions in the district are being made by a group of people that have the kids' best interest in mind.
Yep.
I've been thrilled with Rogersville School District. Like I said, as a newbie coming in, I don't know how long you have to live here before you're like,
I think if you've served as PTA president, it's automatic. You are a lifer
So after next year, I'll be a lifer.
if you survive.
I do have a great PTA, and they're awesome. We've had a great PTA for several years at Rogersville.
There are
So,
degrees
yeah.
of being, local.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're local. I'm never going to be a local. But I can be an old salty dog, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's what I said at Day and K. I announced myself as the old salty dog, and our new member, Amy, who's delightful.
She's like Mary Poppins.
She is like Mary Poppins, and I'm like, are you real? Do you really exist? Do you have an idea and execute it? And it's like, what? But Alice and Nicole on our board are wonderful too, and so we're a good batch. And if you want to be involved in PTA and you want to volunteer, just come on down. It's awesome. And it is funny though, because you go through a couple of years of this, and being very involved in the school, and you realize like, oh, this gives me a voice, this gives me a place, this is ways that I can help and be in my community, and it does, makes you feel like an old salty dog.
Appreciate it. But you're a millennial, so.
I'm barely a millennial.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'll take the title or not.
Yeah. You're probably firmly in that group, aren't you?
Well, it just depends on where you
Draw the
draw
line.
your line.
Yeah, where the cutoff is. I'm an 84, so I'm right.
Yeah, you're a
but I'm
young
an 84
millennial.
from Texas County, which means I was
Yeah,
actually
okay.
born in 1976.
Yeah, that might
So
make you
there's a huge difference.
That's funny.
80 to 95, I think, is kind of where I think the
They
millennials
say
were born.
Firmly in that.
the 80 to 85 is a very gray area because
Yeah.
it really
Kind of on the fringe.
they're very much on the fringe. Yeah, and like I said, an 84 in
You're like an
Texas
old
County.
grandma millennial.
I am. I'm like a very old grandma. I'm an old salty dog grandma millennial.
There you
That
go.
fits.
There you
That's
go.
the title.
Can you fit
Yeah.
that on a card?
I can't. I'll put that on a card. Can we make that happen?
You can,
get a
yeah.
card.
Money and Associates, Salty Dog Grandma Realtor, right?
No, I'm not a grandma realtor. There's
No.
realtors that have been doing this for 65 years.
Yeah, there are. And they're still on billboards with
and
their
are
picture
still on
from 30 years
billboards,
ago.
and they look beautiful.
We do have a good school district, and, my concern is we've got to be vigilant and protect it, because there's a
100%.
lot of people that want to come in and wreck it. And, we got to keep our eye out for a while. And glad you're going to do that.
Feels like no pressure.
All right, it's about time to land this airplane. You guys got anything you want to say before we get out of here? Dr. Randels, last comment.
Parting word.
Oh, my
not
gosh.
Graduation speech. No.
By the way, good job on your graduation speech.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I liked it.
It wasn't one of my favorites this
Really?
year. Yeah, I don't know.
I thought you did good.
Well, thank you.
Heather says thank you.
Yep, Heather says thank you.
Well, thank you. No, I would say I want to thank everyone in the LR community. For blessing. Oh,
Oh, I knew that was going to happen. I knew as soon as you started. I'm sorry. That's how much your superintendent has cared about you guys.
That's right. Yep.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It's been a blessing.
Been a blessing. All right. Hey, everybody, thanks for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow with Dollars and Cents, and all next week. We'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.